Happy day to you all, my amazing friends. Hope you're having an awesome day today as well. I'm over here in Garden Grove, California at a hotel room again. Just wanted to share another video about forgiveness. Now, this video is a continuation of my last video, so if you haven't watched that video, please go take the time to watch it so that you'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. Now, how many of you are really good at forgiving others and yourself as well? And do you know who benefits the most when you forgive? Any guesses? Yes, you. It benefits you the most. So let me share my story after what happened with me and my dad. As I mentioned, dad placed me in the orphanage at age 10. I did not see him after that. When I was 19, I had the opportunity to go back to Korea on a mission to spread God's love and joy and happiness with people in Korea, which I was very excited about because I had the opportunity to go back to Korea and share the love that I found with people that I love from in my homeland, my motherland. So I was very excited about that. So I went over there and started doing that. Now, my Korean wasn't the greatest initially because I had to relearn it, but as it got, when I turned about 21, actually even around 20, my Korean came back really quick, so I was able to communicate with people pretty easily. So by the time I turned 21, I was able to have a pretty decent conversation, fluent conversation with other people. At that time, I wasn't sure how I felt about reconnecting with my parents, but I had a strong desire to find them and reconnect with them. So I went to a local police station to see if I could find their information. I asked my American mom if she had any kind of information, and she willingly sent it over to me. Later on, I found out that she was very hesitant to do it because she thought I may never come back home. That is true love. And as I shared my love of my American mother, she's such an amazing person, such an angel. She's not with us anymore, but I am forever thankful for her love. And that love has translated to me being able to find God's love and be able to go share my love with people in Korea, which in turn allowed me to find my parents as well. Because information that my American mom sent over, it allowed me to find my mom and dad very easily and very quickly. Now, once I had their information, I was a little nervous, needless to say, right? And I called my mom first and I told her, "This is Lee," or in Korean, Kisong. She was obviously shocked because she thought she would never see me again or talk to me again for that matter. And here I was. When I left, I was a 12-year-old kid. 9 years later, I was a 21-year-old grown man calling her. She had to verify certain things just to make sure it was me, and we made the decision to meet. After that, I also called my dad. He was shocked just like my mom was. And just with him as well, we set up the time to meet at a place and a location. Now, when I met my mom, I got off the bus and there she was, same beautiful woman that I remember. As soon as I got off the bus, as I started walking toward her, she was literally looking me up and down, looking me up and down to make sure that I really was her little son that grew up to be over 6 foot. And the moment she recognized that I was her son, she didn't run toward me or anything like that. She literally dropped on the spot and she started crying. And she just started crying uncontrollably. And I had such a strong love and compassion for her. And as I was walking, actually, I didn't walk, I ran toward her. And as I held her, She said, I am so sorry, Lee. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And I told her, Mom, you don't need to be sorry. There's nothing for you to be sorry for. Because of that, I have a great life now. Because you allowed me to go, I have a wonderful life. Now I have the opportunity to come back and see you and be able to reconnect. So there's nothing for you to be sorry because my life turned out great. That didn't help one bit. She kept on crying and crying. It seemed like she was crying for at least 30 minutes, literally in the same spot. At that point, I didn't see anyone else. It was just me and my mom. And I had such strong love for her. And I felt such strong love from her. Because I recognized how much she has suffered over all those years. Because she let her only son that she had go because she couldn't raise me, but she also knew that if she let me go, I'd have a way better life. And for her to say, I'm sorry continually, it really hurt me quite a bit. But at that moment, I didn't actually cry because I wanted to be strong for her. And I was still trying to smile and laugh and let her know that there's nothing for her to be sorry for because of her, because of her sacrifice, I was able to have a better life. So after about 30 minutes, she finally composed herself, got up, hugged me, grabbed my hand really tight. And we walked over to the restaurant and we started eating and chatting and we started laughing again. And just like what she did when I was little, she would literally grab food with her chopsticks and feed me like a little kid. And it was such a special moment. And I was so thankful for that experience. And I truly had no hard feelings toward her at all, not one bit. I was just simply thankful, and I was extremely grateful that she was still healthy and doing well. So I'll just stop there with my mom because I don't want to keep on crying. And after that, I went straight over to my dad's place. And when I got off the bus, there was my dad just doing exactly what my mom did, looking at me up and down. Because the last time I saw him was when I was 10 years old. And so it had been 11 years. And once he recognized that it was me, he didn't say a word. He's kind of turned around and started heading towards somewhere. That may have seemed kind of cold, but that was just the way things were back then. So I just basically followed him to a restaurant. He asked me little questions here and there about, where I was, what I was doing, how I'm doing, all that kind of stuff. And as we were getting close to finishing eating again, he almost seemed like he didn't know what to say. And I had to bring it up. I said, Dad, can you please forgive me? And he was kind of going, what? Essentially, right? He didn't say that, but he kind of looked up and was going, what? He gave me that look. And I said, Dad, because of what happened all those years ago, I literally hated you for the longest time. And I asked him, can you please forgive me for hating you for all these years? He was shocked. He looked at me and all he could say was, That's all he said. And then I asked him, do you remember that night? Which is the event that I was talking about. If you didn't watch it, you would know what I'm talking about if you will watch the other video. And he literally looked down And I said, Dad, I want you to know I forgive you completely. What was interesting to me was as soon as I said those words, I felt extremely light. I don't know how else to describe that feeling. I was completely light. I didn't think I was carrying any burdens of any sort, but as soon as I said those words and really meant it, I felt so light that it felt like I could literally fly away. I had no idea up to that point in time that I was carrying all this weight, that I was carrying this extra burden. And at that moment, not at that moment, but at a few years later, I finally came to the realization that's what was going on in my life. And I recognized at that moment that when you forgive, not only does it help the other person if that person is willing to accept, but it actually benefits you the most because we may not even recognize the burdens that we are carrying because we are not willing to forgive. And the hard times, the difficulties, the emotional trauma, mental aches, mental pains, heartaches, all the things that we're carrying until we really are able to release that by forgiving somebody else. And that includes forgiving ourselves too. Learn to forgive for your benefit. Because after that experience, I had no hard feelings toward my dad at all. It was such a complete freedom after I told him I forgive him. Now, after that experience, I went back to America and lived my normal life, and we kept in touch. And several years later, I went back to Korea, and he was not doing very well. So I met with him again, and he did not look good at all. But he was a strong man. After he and I had another lunch, when we met, we took some pictures and we said goodbye. And he was telling me to just be a good person. Just be a good person. That was his main message to me. After we separated, I was still in Korea for a while, so I tried to call him. He answered maybe once, but we didn't talk very long because he didn't feel very good. And after that, I kept on calling him, but he wasn't picking up. Now, it was my last day in Korea, and I was about to get on the plane at the airport. And I felt the need to call my dad one more time. And I called him up, and thankfully he picked up. And, I was just checking to see how he's doing and let him know that I was going to America. And at that moment, he said, Lee, I want you to know you are a treasure in our family. He told me, you're a treasure in our family. Now, you got to understand, he's never told me that he loved me once in my entire life. Because that just was not the custom for people in his generation. But I could not have gotten a more of a I love you than what he said in that moment. I recognized how much he loved me. And that was his best way of expressing how much he loved me. And I could tell that he was still feeling very guilty about what he had done. But for me, having that experience of him telling me that I'm a treasure in his family, that was such a gift. And it's only because I was able to forgive him, let him know that I completely forgive him and really meant it. It was such a memorable, and it really was a treasure for me as well. I hope that you all will have that kind of an experience for yourself. as you forgive others, you'll feel more freedom, and you'll feel like your burden's been lifted. And you might even have awesome experiences like I had with both my mom and my dad. May you learn to forgive for your benefit and for those that you forgive, so that you may have treasured experiences, so that you may live a life free of burdens, so that you may be able to enjoy life more fully with greater happiness and joy and fulfillment. Let us learn to forgive. I love you, my friends. I sincerely want the best things for you. I'm pouring my heart out because I sincerely hope that this will touch your heart to learn to forgive for your benefit. And that's my sincere hope and wish for you. And I guess I will go and catch up with you next time, all right? Keep on smiling, my friends. Once again, I love you all. We'll catch up with you next time.